Welcome back to STONED, ladies and gentlemen. We have a couple of questions. We have some lovely audience members that have been married for several years. We're going to point out some questions. We have Ida and Dennis Johnson that are part of the marriage couple as well. They are their Vicky Graves. And so I'm just going to go around. There's a couple of questions that we didn't get to on the panel that I do want to ask, and maybe if y'all feel comfortable answering these questions, that'd be great for us. The first question is, I feel my spouse values he or her family over what I have and what we have as a family. I've spoken about this to my spouse, but nothing changes. Am I wrong to demand change in this marriage? And so one of y'all got a question. This spouse feels that the other in this marriage values the family that they came from more than they value the family they're in right now. Do you have any answers, Pastor Dennis or Ida? Which one of y'all want to answer this? Anybody want to answer? I answer if I have to. Pastor Dennis?
Can do it.
The Bible tells us that when a man and woman get married, that the man should leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife. And so that means they become one flesh, and that wife and his family is more important or takes more precedence than the beloved mother and father that raised him. It doesn't mean that we don't love them or anything like that, but the first commitment is to that wife and that family.
Amen. First of all, let's get one thing perfectly straight. I don't claim to be an expert in anything in marriage because I'm still learning. Amen. But to answer that question, it does say that a man, first of all, has to leave his mother and father. I'm going to pause right there because I believe that if a man can establish himself as a man, first of all, he shouldn't be going out trying to get a wife that he can't take care of. If a man can't learn to take care of himself, to fend for himself, to become a man, then how are you going to take care of a wife if you can't take care of yourself? So, after that pause, then he says, and then he shall cleave unto his wife. And even when children are in the mix, you have to understand God's order. Man and wife becomes one. The children didn't come until God made them one. So we have to make sure that we know the order of things according to the way God had placed things. A man cleaves to his wife. That is the most important relationship in that family. Your mother and father on both ends are now extended family. And then on the portion of blended family, because see, we are a blended family. We can go on and on about that, but then as someone up here says, if you've been married before and then now you're trying to blend another family together, you're bringing some baggage along with you. And each person, ourselves, we had to learn how to deal with each other's baggage. And it wasn't easy. We've been married, be 18 years in October. It's been about 14 of the best years of my life. You notice I said 14 because the first 4 years were very rocky and rough. But we had to make a decision that divorce was no option. And we have to work through this thing. We have to understand that she's still an individual, I'm still an individual. We have to work through this thing. Yes, there's going to be issues. Life brings issues, but with God, we can conquer everything. And that's the key. If you don't have God in your life, if you don't have that relationship with Christ, you won't be able to work through those issues because God will lead and guide you through those issues.
Amen. One more question, and that's important. The biggest piece that cap off that question is that as a man, you have to understand your authority, not physically, but spiritually to God. Too many times when it comes to relationships, the woman has to take that spiritual authority, because all the man wants to do is physically have authority. And so when there's not a balance in that relationship, and there's not a balance in the man's life, and all he knows is the yes and the no and the slaps and the physical portion, and we allow our head to be led by the wrong legs. Amen? There's more to the woman than just physical. And if you're not meeting her spiritual needs, you're not going to take her anywhere physically. And so making sure that spiritually you have the authority on check before you can lead physically. Does that make sense? Last question, and I want, if anybody has a question in here, we're going to wrap up with this, but I want to, if you got a question in the audience, you're going to take us off our comfort zone and throw us off a little bit. I'm not going to certain people, because I know y'all trying to say something crazy just to make me uncomfortable. You done told me yourself. But I want to ask this question. So if you got a question in your mind, whether it's a single question, marriage question, dealing with kids, we want to get to that piece. You mentioned about the blended family. What do you do, and I'm going to target the Grays on this one, what do you do, this is what kind of question given to us, what do you do if your kids try you, and you know that the father you're married to, the man that's in the house right now, is not the father of the kids, he's taken over the house, but he's not the father. And the kids may know that. Sometimes they, you're not my father, you're not my mother. How do you handle that? Discipline, as a mother, father leading the house, how do you answer that question?
Praise the Lord. It just so happened that we did have that issue, and my first response was to beat him. That's how I was raised. I mean, I got a whooping every day. If I didn't get a whooping, I go, well, my dad early. But I asked my mom, you okay? She said, yeah, boy. Why? I said, well, you ain't whooped me anything, you know. But no, that's just where I was disciplined. And my wife, we're a blended family. We've both been married before. And the way she was raised and the way I was raised was totally different. Totally different. And at the time that we got married, I must say this, that I didn't want to be the lead. I was cool with where she was at. She had a house, and she had a job, and I had a job, and I was cool. She could do the lead. I just chilling because I was still out in the world and in and out weather. And so I didn't want the lead. I really didn't. I didn't even think about the lead. I was cool, doing my thing. And then when God convicted me as I grew in Christ, I wanted to lead, because that's what God told me. You're supposed to take the lead. So then it was hard for me to take the lead, because the kids, I had been there a couple of years, and we, like I said, we had different backgrounds. So when I did want to take the lead, it was very hard for me to take the lead. And then sometimes it was hard for my wife to let me lead, because she was the leader. She was comfortable leading. She was comfortable leading. Then when I wanted to lead, so we couldn't have two leaders. I said, hey, we both can't get out of this car at the same time. So, and needless to say, we had a lot of arguments and fights and intense fellowship, and a lot of loud talking and screaming and hollering and slamming doors and crying and leaving and coming back, and just everything, and then it was good, because see, when we got married, we had 2 teenage girls. Oh Lord, so that was a problem right there. But we had a little boy, and so that was cool, because I could bond with the boy better than the girls, and so I think I really do. Me bonding with the boy helped get through with the girls, and so and then as we grew closer in Christ, and the Lord grew me, as well as my wife, because that one verse about submitting to your husband and all that, first you got to submit to God. And once my wife started letting me lead, let me leave sometime. But anyway, you know, it got better. It was a process though. We've been married 15 years now, and it's a process. And, I just thank God, you know, we talk about, about the word, you got to use the words, I just want to mention this, that it's not practical just, I know we should have the word right there, but all the time we have situations, it's not practical to grab the word and read, and read the word. So what I'm trying to say is that you need to be in Bible study. Amen. So you get the word in you, and then the word will come out when it's necessary. You ain't, first thing you ain't think about is going to pick up the Bible. You talk about whooping them, you ain't think about picking up the Bible, so you got it, and then I just want to say that, and I'm sure my wife has something to say.